Justin, you're on the line with Steve Julian of MMA Mania.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to talk to you today. Thanks for the time.
No worries, buddy.
All right, well, let me get a little housekeeping out of the way before we get into Bellator. I know you were the Resurrection Fighting Alliance featherweight champion, so presumably you vacated that title. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that gets that out of the way. So how are you feeling knowing that you were a champion in RFA and you've got a chance now to work your way up to a championship in Bellator? How does that feel?
Yeah, I feel like every fight I've grown leaps and bounds in becoming a better person and a better fighter. I trained for 5-round fights, defending 5-round fights. That really makes you as a fighter, I feel like, and it's really been awesome. I have Dominic Cruz that has really helped me because he basically lived his career off of 5-round fights and defending his title in the WC and the UFC. So really having him in my back pocket has been a huge help. But yeah, I feel like, doing a 10-week camp to a 12-week camp, getting ready for a title fight, I feel like, that's a workload, So when I found out that I was going to be fighting in Bellator and I was going to be fighting a 3-round fight, I was pretty pumped about it, to be honest, because I just knew the workload wasn't going to be nearly as much. But, I still don't get me wrong, I still work my ass off because, there's only one thing that you can control in a fight, and that's your cardio. You can't control the outcome, really. You can't control getting knocked out. If it lands, it lands. Good for him, But I can control my cardio, and I got to be in the best shape of my life. So with that being said, I was pretty pumped for a 3-round fight.
Oh, you're right, though. That cardio is the one thing you can't control, and who better to learn it from than Dominic? Like you said, he gets so many 5-round fights in his career, and it's good that you still have that relationship after the Ultimate Fighter, that you're still tight with him.
Oh yeah, man. I lost. This is kind of a crazy story, real quick, but I lost at UFC 150. I lost to Max Holloway, and it was my first loss of my professional career, and I took it pretty hard. I locked myself in my room for about 3 or 4 days, didn't talk to nobody. I got this weird 619 number calling me, and I had so many missed calls from not answering the phone. I didn't know who this number was or what it was or who it was. And I just had a weird feeling, so I ended up answering it. I'm like, hello? He's like, Justin? And I'm like, yeah, this is Dominic. He's like, this is Cruz. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm being a baby and crying in my room. And he's like, you need to get out to San Diego to join me. I got my old 1-bedroom studio that I'm going to let you come in and rent. And I'm like, what? And it was super cheap. And he basically gave me, let me take over his 1-bedroom studio, where he won his first world title at, in the WEC when he first moved out here when he was 22, 23 years old. And he's really allowed me to get on my feet, out here and, allowed me to get some really good training at Alliance. So, of course I jumped on it and, a week later I packed all my bags up in, my car and hiked across the country and moved out to San Diego to Alliance Training Center. And ever since then, I have never looked back, and it made me so much better. I had my last time I fought in St. Louis was my pro debut, in Strike Force, and I feel like I really, have just became 5 times the amount of fighter that I was then than I am now. I feel like I've grown so much, and I think that all to Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, well, do you feel like it's coming full circle then, now that you're making your Bellator debut in St. Louis? Does it feel like everything coming back around again?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was pretty pumped. I was pretty pumped, to know that I was going to be fighting in St. Louis, and, there's nothing better than fighting in your hometown. And, it's a good, good homecoming for me, and, to really showcase my skills and to go out there and show, my friends and family, my fans, that I have worked my tail off, for the last 4 or 5 years out here in San Diego.
Absolutely. You'll show off all those things that you picked up from Dominic Cruz in that time. But what are you going to show off against?
Yes, sir.
What are you going to show against Sean Wilson? What do you know about him as an opponent?
I know he's a journeyman. He's got a lot of fights. He, really likes to, stand and bang, and that's kind of my specialty, and I know he's got a really good overhand right. He really looks to really land that. Really, he's strong in both hands. He's got power in both hands, but he really looks for that right hand, the overhand right. So, with an overhand right, you got, it's devastating if it touches you or hits you, but, there's a lot of room for counter. And they telegraph it a lot because you got to throw because it's so wide. I'm just gonna go out there, stand and bang with them, outclass them, and, look to score big points in and around.
Well, and if he drops his hands, maybe you'll get one of those John Cobra head kicks off.
Haha, that's right. Yay. It's always in my back pocket. I throw it.
Yeah, that would be a spectacular debut in St. Louis. But do you feel extra pressure? You mentioned it being where you came from and how you got your start in your hometown and all. Does that add a little weight to it, or is it just another day of work?
Yeah, that's what I've learned in the past 4 or 5 years is how to deal with everything mentally. Everyone at my level, everyone at our level is going to be in good shape and they know how to fight. It's just about how dealing with all the pressure mentally. So that's what I feel like I've really grown, with a lot, in the last, 4 or 5, years, since I've been out here, the last 3 years since I've been out here. That's why fighting 5 rounds is, there's nothing more, scary to know that you're in the locker room and you're about to go fight another human being for 25 minutes. And you're worried about being tired, and you're worried about, being, gassed out by the fourth or whatever, So, it's just another day in the gym for me, it's another sparring match, and that's the way I'm going to look at it, come St. Louis. And I'm really looking to really go out there and showcase my skills again and just go out there and just dominate.
I'm sure it's going to be an excellent performance, but I also wonder, with it being a hometown fight, as it were, going back to St. Louis, do you get hit up with a lot of friends and family that are looking for tickets to the show?
Yeah, I do, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me because, it's not my, I want to be nice to everybody, and I'm a kind of a nice dude, but I'm really not worried about them tickets. I'm really not worried about them tickets. I'm worried about a lot, way more on my plate than that, But, yeah, I do get hit up here and there, but, that's why I got my mom and dad back home. My dad owns a gym, 21st Century American Martial Arts. So I just tell him, hey, just go to my dad's gym and he'll hook you up. He'll talk to you and there you go, with all that. So, with all that, I just really try to, be nice and just let everyone know that, hey, if you want to get tickets, we're at my old band spot, But, for the most part, I really try to, really just focus on me getting the best shape of my life and me just getting my game plan and just going there and executing it and being the best Justin Lawrence come fight there.
Besides which, there's so many of your fans in St. Louis that, you don't even have to worry about having a big cheering section for you. I'm sure that place is going to pop loud when you come out in the Scottrade Center. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. Like I said, I haven't, it brings a smile to my face just thinking about it. I haven't, really had that feeling, when I got cut from the UFC and I went to RFA. The first fight I had, I fought in a home guy's town, and it was kind of one of the first times I ever got booed. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of unusual. I've never been booed before, but it was also good to go out there and collect that win in his hometown. Yeah, and as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I might have been at that show, because if it was the RFA in Des Moines, I went to a Resurrection.
Yes, RFA 10.
Yeah, I went to Resurrection in Des Moines. I saw you on that card, and I remember that reaction, like, wow, they're booing this guy, and he was just in UFC. I was kind of blown away by that. Yeah,
I fought a big hometown name, and he was pretty good record. He was like 7-1 or 8-1. He got a 4-5 win streak or so, and but yeah, man, it was quite the experience,
But picking up that win put you on that path, and you got the RFA title shot for the vacant title, and then you won it, so it led to great things.
Yes, sir. And it's just more of me growing as a man and growing as a fighter. A lot of people don't really understand that, and that's what I felt like I was kind of lacking when I was in the UFC, just the maturity a little bit. I felt like I was fighting, grown men that had families and mouths to feed. I was just going out there and kind of fighting for save up for my next dirt bike, or save up for my next toy, really. When you got a guy, kind of his back against the ropes, you'll figure out what kind of fighter he is.
Well, you mentioned dirt bikes. Now, is that an extreme sport, something you pursue in your off time?
Yeah. I play a lot of dirt. I ride a lot of dirt bikes and I play a lot of paintball. Those are the two things that I really splurge a little bit on and kind of enjoy my time. every time I'm back home, every Sunday or Saturday, I'm playing paintball and riding a dirt bike.
Do you ever get Donald Cerrone comparisons? We all know that Donald Cerrone loves to do those extreme wild sports, and everybody always worries about him getting hurt.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I didn't know how much of a wild, like extreme wakeboarder he really was. Until I was the last fight with Dominic. I was in his corner when he fought Mizugaki, and after that devastating win that he went out there and finished the guy in the first round, we ended up staying a few days later down at this lake, and we ended up running into Cerrone, and we were on his boat, and man, that guy is wicked on the wakeboard, and I could see why that the UFC or his managers don't really like him going out there and possibly getting hurt because he is wicked on it.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty crazy, but I assume when you're out there riding the dirt bikes, nobody at Bellator has told you, hey, maybe cool off on that. We don't want you injured before the fight. They're just letting you do your thing.
I try to do it low key. I don't really post a whole lot of photos on it. So.
That's good. So there's obviously a featherweight title defense that night on the show, but how far away would you have to be? Do you think it's like 2 or 3 wins you put together in Bellator before you get a chance at either the retaining or the new champion?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, that I couldn't have said it much better myself, just 2 or 3 more fights, keep growing as a fighter, I'm only 7-2, I've had 4 fights from the Ultimate Fighter, that's not on my record, or 3 fights from the Ultimate Fighter, that's not on my record. I feel like I got a little more growing to do, but I would really like to be knocking on that door, of a title contention within the next year, knock out a few fights,
Right, absolutely. And it's a stacked division. We've got multiple current and former champions in the featherweight division that are all vying for that title. So maybe you'd get a matchup.
Yeah, the water's.
Go ahead.
So, the water's getting deep at 45. And they keep adding, tougher and stiffer competition each and every week. So yeah, that weight class is not a joke anymore. Or it wasn't really a joke before. I didn't really say it like that. The water's getting deep, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do a little future game planning here. Let's say everything goes according to plan with Sean Wilson. You get that big W in your Bellator debut. Do you see like Pat Curran or Daniel Strauss, a former champion? It would be like your stepping stone, next rung on the ladder? Yeah,
definitely. I feel like, I'm not trying to look past Sean Wilson by any means. I still got to go out there and do my job and collect that W. Execute my game plan, but let's say I do collect that W, I would really like to be fighting, a top contender in this weight class to kind of to establish myself here and let people know that hey, Justin Lawrence isn't a joke. He's on his hair.
I don't think anybody's going to think you're a joke after June 19th. If they didn't already know, I'm sure they'll know when they see that fight on one of the biggest cards of the year. Ken Shamrock and Kimbo Slice in the main event. That alone has to be special too, knowing that you're part of a mega card like this.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've been a huge Shamrock fan since the beginning. My uncle fought in UFC 10, so I've always been interested in the UFC and watching everybody fight there, and I've always been a fan of Shamrock. But I tell you what, when I was in high school, I bought just about every Team Kimbo shirt that you could possibly buy because I was a huge fan of his street fights on YouTube. And I thought this dude, he had such good boxing and such crisp hands in these street fights. And it really was awesome to watch him just go out there and just demoralize people, and it was I was a huge fan of Kimbo, and I can't wait to meet him. He's going to be an awesome guy to meet.
Yeah, well, do you have a prediction for us then? Is it going to be Kimbo with the hands, or are we going to see one of Shamrock's patented leg locks?
Yeah, you know what? I really it's going to be it's a tough one, huh? It's hard to bet there, but I'm going to have to go with Kimbo. He's got good hands. It's just going to come down to whether or not he's going to be able to stop that takedown.
Right. Yeah. If Shamrock gets it to the ground, that could be big trouble for Kimbo because I know he says he trains MMA, but like you said, his hands are his bread and butter. So he's not thinking about it going to the ground. He's looking for the knockout.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what, man? Wrestling is such a, wrestling wins fights. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Wrestling wins fights. And, you're seeing a lot of these top wrestling, like it's Michael Chandler. You know, you're looking at a high-level wrestler just going out there and beating a lot of these high-level jiu-jitsu guys because they're out positioning them. They're out positioning them. They're staying in good position and they're just beating them up and shoving them in the corner. So with that being said, at the same time, wrestling is one of the hardest disciplines to really get down because it's just mat time. It's just, you got to put in that time. You got to put in those drills. And, you're not going to become a good wrestler drilling every day for 3 months. You're going to become a great wrestler drilling every day for the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? It takes a minute to really get that down where it's muscle memory and you don't even have to think about those takedowns. So, yeah, so I really feel like wrestling is going to play a big part in that fight.
Well, and it may just play a part in your fight, too. We'll have to wait and see on June 19th at Scott Trade Center what happens. But before that time, why don't you give us some plugs, give us some shout-outs to your teammates and sponsors and social media links and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I want to thank all the coaches and all the staff at Alliance Training Center, George Castro, Eric Del Fierro, Jeremy Stevens, Michael Chandler, Coach Neil Melanson that has helped me out a lot, Chandler's coach. My mom and dad back home, they're always big supporters. 21st Century American Martial Arts, they're my biggest fans, and it really tickles me, every time I go back home and visit the home gym back home, because, I see all these kids with my hairstyle or wearing my shorts or wearing my shirts. So it really makes me proud, and makes me relish that role. And, I think it's awesome to go back home and see all that. But with that being said, I want to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram at American Kid MMA, and be ready for some fireworks come June 19th.
And it's Kid with 2 D's, right?
Correct. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yep.
Just want to make sure everybody heard that so they don't follow American Kid with 1 D and get somebody else completely different. We want them to get you.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right. Thank you for correcting me there. Yes.
No, not correcting you at all. Just helping you out a little bit. So I want to thank you, Justin. I appreciate the time today, and I'm going to be there for the fights on June 19th in St. Louis. So looking forward to seeing you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And looking forward to talking to you again.
All right. It would be my pleasure. And CJ, thanks for setting up the call today.